team in the country, the Army Black Knights. And the Black Knights will get this season underway as toe meets leather. On the run from inside his own 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. So Arkansas State's offense will have the first possession of the game. And here's the man they want to get the ball to in this passing game. This is the type of receiver, David, when he's covered, he's still open.
He's still putting that hand up in the air. Coach, I'm still open. And more importantly, his quarterback knows that. They're going to move him all over the field. They're going to feature him on offense. They're going to make sure he gets a lot of touches, whether he's open or whether he's open, because he's always open.
Finally run out of bounds, but he has this offense rolling with a first down. Wide out in motion. Little touch pass to the receiver. He breaks a tackle. They can rely on this guy to pick up solid yardage when they need it, and he's out to the 43. To the air. It's Middleton. Finds the tight end. Keeps the legs moving. They get him on the ground after he gets enough to move the sticks. And the Red Wolves have this offense rolling. Movement here from the tight end. Coming out on first down with the play fake. It's complete to the left. And he's able to bounce off one tackle, but still not a whole lot of running room. And the short completion brings up second down. From the shotgun, they'll run it. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. If they can convert here, that type of play can really give you a shot of momentum. On third down, going up top. Got a man. It's Summers. Gets it all the way down to the 39-yard line. It'll be a first down. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. The Red Wolves will snap it on 1st and 10. Fast motion from the offense. Quarterback touch pass on the jet sweep. And he won't quite get there, but boy, after that pickup, just a few inches to go for the first. An array of possibilities here. They'll leave it with him. And they'll bring him down, but not before he picks up the first down. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. Now on the move at the 28-yard line on first down. Might as well run him until they stop him. He's got it again. Knocked down after a gain of 1 to the 27. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. Now the play fake. And he got smacked just as he released the pass. It's incomplete. 3rd and long coming from the 27-yard line. You can make a field goal from here. Just don't take a negative play. Time running out, and he goes down at the 34. The pocket broke down, and the quarterback had to take the sack.
Really impressed by this pass rush, Reese. Just guys winning their individual battles one-on-one up front. They're able to get to the quarterback.
And if the kicker can put one through, this will be a successful drive. Looks as if this will be a 51-yard attempt. Splits the uprights, it's good. And with that, they break the seal on the scoring. It's 3-0.
This is a team that really prides themselves on starting fast. We've seen that before, and here they are playing at home today. Nice job on the opening drive. Lots of poise, good emotion. They don't get the touchdown they would have liked, but they kick a nice field goal. They've got the lead. Head coach has to be happy with that.
So the kickoff team is out there ready to boot it away after putting up a field goal. Let's see what the defense can do. Didn't find any crease in that kickoff coverage, and he'll be stopped at the 17. The Cadets offense will try to get something going with their first possession. And you want to talk about dudes who can bring the heat off the edge, David? Both of these teams have somebody that can do just that.
Man, so much fun. They get off the rock and they get in the backfield and get to quarterbacks. Make them feel uncomfortable, get them to the ground. These guys change the way offenses are playing the game.
These offensive coordinators better help out their quarterback. These guys need to be double-teamed with tight ends and running backs. You let these guys go one-on-one, you're asking to get sacked.
Almost had the completion, just missed it. This defense has kept them backed up. Now one more stop, and they can get off the field on 3rd and long. Safe completion on the screen. They make the stop, but not before the screen has hit them for a 1st down and much more. Really good execution by this offense. Looking to throw it again. Gets it out fast. And they'll shove him out of bounds after the short gain. Still some work to do after that last completion at 2nd down. Looking for a man. It's Stevens. Pocket starts to collapse. Quickly complete. He almost picked up the 1st down on that one, but he'll be just a little bit short. They'll try to move the chains on the ground. The Black Knights will keep this drive going. The offense setting up shop at the 46, 1st and 10. Looks as if the defense was a little too eager there, got into the neutral zone, and that'll be a 5-yard penalty. Defense. Defense way over eager there, and now the entire playbook just opens up before the eyes of this offensive coordinator. Right back to the well. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Let's see what they've got on 2nd down. They'll run play action. Got out of trouble, got rid of it. Out of the backfield, he's open. Makes the grab, and it's enough for the 1st down before he's dragged to the ground.
I just love quarterbacks that aren't greedy and that aren't always trying to throw the home run ball, right? 2nd down, you're in your own end of the field. The guy you want to throw to is not open. Just find the back. He'll go do something positive with it. This guy is a weapon, and you got to find him in the passing game.
Now on 1st down from the 40. They'll give it to the back. He's all the way down to the 27-yard line, and they are threatening. And the Black Knights have it with a 1st and 10. He's looking to throw it. Fires to the big fella. And they'll finally get him down after a terrific pickup. From the 17-yard line, it's 1st and 10. From the red zone, looking for a receiver. And he has a solid gain on the play before sliding. Going to work in the red zone, they can't pick up the 1st down without getting it into the end zone. From the gun, they'll try the middle. So close to that end zone, he could almost taste it, but it'll be 1st and goal for this offense. Defense is backed up. Shadow of the goalpost, trying to defend their own end zone. They'll use the running game on 1st and goal. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. That's the end of the quarter, and Arkansas State is on top. Guys, let's have a look at the stats as we've played one period. Now to see if these guys can get back in the game in the 2nd quarter. Pushes for the goal line. He steps and powers and works his way. They finally get him down at the 2. And they've inched closer and closer, and still 2 yards to go for the touchdown here on 3rd down. That play just never had a chance. They knock him down for a loss of 5. And here comes the field goal unit. And he'll boot one from the right hash. He ought to be able to navigate that angle from this distance. No good. And after the miss, they're still down by a field goal.
Well, everybody in the stadium thought that was an automatic 3. Not so fast. Bad miss by the kicker.
Arkansas State ready to go back to work on offense. Man, how comforting is it to know that even if your offense stalls out a little, Jesse, that field goal kicker can knock it in from a long way out.
Well, he's one of the best in the country, Reese, no doubt. But this offense would like him and prefer for him to kick an extra point on this drive. And to do that, David, they've got to have more rhythm on offense.
Yeah, create some more rhythm, create some more explosive plays, and maybe some more balance. And listen, it's nice to have that weapon and kick long field goals. If you kick too many field goals, you don't get very many W's.
Unloads to the wideout. Fires a bullet. Now it's picked off. And they'll close in on him after a good return on the interception.
QBs have to understand, when I'm throwing against zones, I got to manipulate guys with my eyes. I might have to look one direction to create an opening to throw that ball or zip that ball in. I got to use touch. It's really hard when all eyes are on me, and you could tell the quarterback was not ready and did not make a good throw.
The Cadets have it back as Army goes back on offense. You want to talk about taking the wind out of your sails. Drive the ball down the field and miss the field goal, David.
You know what? Don't leave it up to kickers. Execute better offensively. I think you move the ball nice. You got to keep that in mind. Hey, Palmer, I think you got to stay aggressive and don't settle for field goals.
Yeah, because you got to know there's just no margin for error right now. You just have got to be able to execute at a high level.
They'd love to pick up this third down and get a fresh set with first and goal. The receivers often will run their route based on a side adjustment. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. And they'll send out the field goal unit. And he'll try this one from the left hash and 33 yards away. It is true as he puts 3 on the board. And with the field goal, we are tied here in the second quarter. And let's check in with Kevin Connors in the studio. Kevin?
Top 15 teams colliding today in a huge matchup, and it's now a final. Alabama opened up a can, and how many times can you say you went into someone else's house and beat them by double digits? It's what happened today, and the rest of college football should take notice. No cupcakes this week, fellas. This top 15 battle was much anticipated, and at least one side can say it's a game they'll savor for some time.
Yeah, how about that? Sounds as if they had a good ball game there, Kevin. Thanks for the update. Pulls it, fired, complete. And they pick up just a few on that completion. Just got one on that last run. Now 2nd and 9 from their own 26. Looking for a man. It's Middleton. Looking for a deep man. Makes the catch down the right side. And they're getting it rolling with that play to the 42-yard line.
I'm a defense. I got to find a way to get some more pressure on the quarterback or disrupt their timing and their rhythm. I can't give them these big chunk plays through the air. I got to be maybe a little bit more aggressive or do something a little bit different.
And that defense doesn't allow a cutback, and they get him out of bounds after a short gain. Caught in the backfield. It's Wallace. He's there to make the stop, and they threw it in reverse, losing yardage on that play.
Third down coming up.
He'll just keep slinging it. And a missed opportunity on third down as the defense knocks it free, and 4th down is coming up. And the Red Wolves will try to pin them back with the punt. First time we've seen their punt team this afternoon. Army has it back in the offense ready to go. David, they couldn't pay off that last drive with a touchdown.
Now they move the ball down the field and execute.
And the Heat will get home, and the quarterback goes down at the 17.
Play-action pass success has a lot to do with selling that fake. You could tell defense was not buying it, got in the backfield, got the big play.
Come to the line, hoping to get some of that yardage back from the 17. Looking to throw on 2nd down. Finds his target down the middle. They make the stop, but not before he takes a chunk out of what they need to move the sticks. Off the play fake. Can't make the connection on 3rd down thanks to that tough, hard-nosed pass defense, and now it's 4th down. Not going to risk a return here. He'll make the fair catch. Arkansas State has it ready to go to work on offense. They've been pretty much stifled on offense so far, David, only able to muster 3 points in their previous 3 drives.
And you got to find a way to open this up and create some explosive plays. The passing game is obviously the easiest way. Jesse, put more speed on the field, find those guys down the field.
And you know they're frustrated, too, because they felt like there were some matchups they could take advantage of to get some points on the board early. In this one, they just haven't been able to connect on those opportunities. But I like David's idea. Maybe move some guys around and see if you can create some better one-on-one match.
He hurls one deep down the left side. It's complete. A huge pickup. And he'll take it to the house. He got loose. Touchdown, Red Wolves.
You know, sometimes as a play caller, you just don't have to overthink things. I've got a guy who's faster than your guys, and he's just going to run straight down the field. I'm going to throw it way down the field. He's going to make the catch, and we're going to score a touchdown, and that's pretty much what just happened there.
He'll try to tack on one more. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they cap it off with a play that can build momentum, a 78-yard touchdown pass. Not a lot of space to be found. Good hustle by the coverage team, and they stop him at the 21. The Cadets have it back as Army goes back on offense. He'll do it himself. Got the first down and more. And they'll finally get him down after a terrific pickup. With the first down, they'll put it in play from the 33. Quickly out to the tight end. And that is good versatility there, and a big hit from the backer in pass coverage. The give to the tailback. He's knocked down in the backfield. He'll lose a couple. Third down conversions are a huge stat, and this one would be a doozy if they can pull it off. And you can give all the credit to the crowd for that one. Offense, no chance, and call for the false start. Ball's at the 29. Defense can taste getting off the field. It's 3rd and long. He's looking downfield to throw. And he can't grab the bullet pass on 3rd down. The Black Knights will line up to punt it away. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. Running it back, it's Harrell. They'll get down and put a stop to the return at about the 28-yard line. First down here with time for maybe one more play until the 2-minute warning. Good timing on the quick out.
And man coverage, when they get up in your face and they make things hard, you want to be able to attack the whole field and get them leaning one direction and then break outside like you did there. Nice out route connection, nice chemistry between quarterback and wide receiver.
Finally stopped at the 46 after a 15-yard gain. They'll throw it on first down. Got away from trouble and got rid of it. And the defense stops him just short of the first down. Maybe needed a few more chain links to move the sticks. They want to just keep throwing it. Fires to the big fella. Good job running that route to get past the sticks because he got nothing after the catch. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half. Looking to move it through the air. Makes the catch. It's Summers. They make the stop right there. Good pickup, but still short of the first down. Got the completion on the last play. Still some work to do on second down. And that's going to fall to the ground incomplete. That was a physical matchup there. Third down coming. Looking to throw, it's Middleton. Got the quick pass. They'll immediately call timeout.
Shotgun fundamentals are so key. He was like a shortstop. Caught the shotgun snap and right away rifled it out of his hands like he was turning too. That was beautiful.
Throws to the wideout. Ball in the air. Intercepted. Going the other way, and he's got room. He's at the 40. Running inside the 20. Touchdown, Army! The defense puts 6 on the board with a big-time interception return. This time it's the defense finding ways to put points on the board.
There is nothing better than being a defender, seeing that ball in the end zone, your eyes get big as saucers, go, jump on that puppy, secure it, get you a touchdown.
On to attempt the try.
Kicker on for the extra point.
Smashes it through for the PAT.
Is good.
Get that touchdown right before the half, build the momentum, and the last thing you need to do is mess it up by allowing a big kickoff return. And he's going to bring it out. And the returner runs out of real estate as he goes down. Time dwindling away as they try to put points on the board right before the half. The give to the back. Just a solid stop by this sophomore. First half in the books. Time now to join Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Guys, it is hard to beat Jonesboro when that town is buzzing as it is today. It's been very evenly played through two quarters. Both teams have been physical. Both teams have battled there in the trenches. Neither has been perfect, but they're both right there in this game. And it's kind of the calm before the storm. Each side sort of licking their wounds right now, but expect another fight in a phone booth in this second half. And with that, let's send it back to the guys at Centennial Bank Stadium.
About to kick it away again as we are tied up in the third quarter. He'll bring it out. It's Green. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. Army has it back in the offense ready to go. The sledding has been tough. Scores have been at a premium, Jesse, and every possession seems like it could switch the momentum of the game.
Yeah, Reese, for this offense, just feels like they just haven't been as physical. And for this offensive coordinator, David, he's having to go deep into the playbook just to try to generate a first down.
Well, and the good thing is there's not a ton of game pressure because the other side's not scoring either. But if you can find that one thing, get that one positive play, and then maybe you get those juices going and something can start to build.
Leaves it with the running back. You want to make sure to maximize those types of runs, and he gets it out to the 41. They've got it at the 41, third and short, trying to keep the chains moving. He'll just throw it away, and it'll be fourth down. And the Black Knights will punt this one away. They'll look to pin him deep. They'll get him down at the 21-yard line. The coverage team able to stop him right there. Guys, we'll see if this Red Wolves offense can get moving. And in a low-scoring game like this one, David, every possession is magnified.
And I think more than anything, it just gets frustrating. And you got to put that behind you. You got to see what this defense has been doing to be so successful. Palmer, now use it against him.
Yeah, David, I think for a play caller, this is tough, right? It's like you have to have the perfect play on just to get a first down. In these types of games, I think you're just trying to get guys out in space, see if a dude can break a tackle. Maybe that generates an explosive play, and it breaks this trend.
Using the quick game, and he'll step out of bounds after a very productive play. Now on second down.
Brings up second down.
They'll go to the ground. Oh, what a move. The Red Wolves get enough for the first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Defense a little too jumpy there, and they got into the neutral zone too soon.
Encroachment. Defense.
Defense a little too eager. That's an encroachment penalty, 5 yards for the offense. They'll ride the running back and leave it with him. Dragged down at the 43, but they've got it in enemy territory. They picked up 10 and give him a first down. He'll pull it on the read. A 7-yard pickup. It'll be 2nd and 3. After the good pickup on first down, let's see if they keep it on the ground. Running back searching for a hole. Jukes his way for more. Just what this offense was looking for. Sets him up at the 26 with the first down. Used the play fake. Now to throw. Nice defensive play to get a hand in there and knock it away. Tune in to the Ocho. 8th play of the drive coming up. They try to pop a run on the draw. And a nice run there before the defense finally makes the stop.
Draws are such a smart way to take advantage of fast defensive linemen that want to get upfield and get after the quarterback. It keeps them honest, makes them realize they got to play the run too. Great play call.
Looking to scramble. Got enough space. Picks up the first down and gets down to avoid contact. So close to cashing it in for this offense. With the run on first and goal. He pushes it forward all the way to the 2-yard line. We'll see if the offense can punch it in on second and goal. Trying to barge their way in. Touchdown, Arkansas State. They take the lead with the 6.
And what a push up front by this offensive line. Everyone playing in unison, driving out of their stance, working into the second level, hats on hats, creating a lane for that running back.
Lining up to tack one more onto that lead. And the extra point is true, and they're on top by 7. About to kick it away after scoring the touchdown. He thought about bringing that out for a half second, but he'll take a knee and they'll bring it to the 25. The offense lining up for a first down play. Give to the running back. Got room at the 35. They wrestle him to the ground, but he's got plenty for a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. They're getting this guy lathered up. He's dropped behind the line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of 3. Last play was a knee. It's Stevens. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there and still a little ground to cover. I'm facing third and long from the 40. Trying to beat the D deep. He's got it at the 30. Open runway ahead. Touchdown, Black Knights. And once he got loose, it was all over.
Number 19.
And it took a minute, but the passing attack now on board. The first passing touchdown of the season. And it took to the second half, but I'll tell you what, this offense will find its rhythm. They'll grow. They'll get better throughout the season. And this is going to be a hard passing attack to stop.
Getting set for the point after.
Kicker is on for the extra point.
And they did make the extra point, and we have a tie ball game here in the third. Let's go to the studio now and check in with Kevin Connors. Kevin, what do you got?
Week in and week out, guys, you never know what's going to happen in college football. Check this out. Wyoming looks like an old punching bag out there today, and I did not expect to say that. This fan base, heck, this coaching staff were not expecting these results. Your boy KC has you covered here in studio, guys, in case anything changes in this one.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. Got his man quickly. He steps out of bounds, but it will be enough for a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Power football with the run. Finds enough room to get 3 out to the 34. After the 3-yard pickup, they come to the line, 2nd and 7. Pulls it and fires to the left. And he's almost to that first down marker there, saying he's a little bit short. They might want to bring out the sticks and measure, but it looks as if he'll be just short of the first down. And the Red Wolves are stopped, but not before getting it past the sticks. The offense getting set for a first down from the 45. The receiver on the jet sweep.
I love defenses that can gang tackle. How about the defense getting a lot of hats to the football? That receiver's a fast dude. With this defense, they've got a lot of team speed themselves, and they showed it right there.
And he's brought down after a solid gain, and that'll be the final play of the third quarter. No question they wanted to get the ball to their playmakers, and both receivers have come up big through 3. We've swapped sides of the field, and we are ready for the finish as the fourth quarter gets underway. They'll run for it on 3rd and short. Wrestled to the ground after picking up the first down. The Red Bulls will line it up on 1st and 10. Softened him up with a run, and now to throw. Excellent coverage and good use of the hands to knock it away. Back to work on 2nd and 10 from the 41 after that last incompletion. Only a couple there, and now staring at 3rd and 8. This defense just can't get off the field. The offense unstoppable. Pressure coming. Going to try to pop one on the screen. Defense was not fooled by that screen to the back, and they'll stop him short of the marker. It'll be 4th down. So on 4th down, here comes the field goal kicker in a huge spot. Never a doubt for this big-footed guy. 49-yard field goal is good.
All field goals are not created equal, guys. Kicks in the fourth quarter to take the lead, they just seem to carry so much more weight. So give that young man credit for getting out there and knocking that thing through the uprights with all of the pressure, with all the eyeballs on him. He delivered.
After that last field goal drive, they're set to kick it away. From inside his own 10, he'll try to help out their field position. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. Quarterback reacting to what the D is showing. On the move. They say you could call holding on every play. Well, they did on that one. The hand to the running back. Nice, solid form tackle from this sophomore. After trying the running game on 1st down, they come to the line on 2nd down. To the air, it's Stevens. Feeling some heat. Swings it out to the flat. And not much doing there as that defense runs him out of bounds. You make up the game plan and not a lot on the play sheet for this. 3rd and long from inside their own 20. He lofts one down the sideline. Snatches it on the right. And the explosiveness, the big gainer gets it to the 49-yard line.
Yeah, and the quarterback knew exactly where he wanted to go with the football, had time, spins the ball deep. Nice job by this offense, understanding what the defense is giving them and creating the explosive play.
To the ground with the back. And they try the middle of this stout defense, and they rise to the challenge. Got stuffed on 1st down. It's 2nd and 10. The give from the gun. They ripped off 7 on that one. Now a 3rd down and 3. Trying to pick up a 1st down. He's going to look for a man on 3rd and short. A shot toward the end zone. Touchdown, Army! They move on top here in the 4th.
Number 12 with the catch in the end zone.
Lining up to add another.
Kicker is on for the extra point.
And the extra point is good, and every point counts. It's now a 4-point lead in the 4th. Almost ready to kick it away after scoring the touchdown.
Arkansas State, 20.
Looking for those open spaces and opportunity. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. Arkansas State ready to go back to work on offense. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. And he knocked him down after a gain of 3 to the 23. He's got 3 on 1st down at 2nd and 7.
Brings up second down.
The play action fake. Got it behind the line. It's Baker. They make the stop, but not before they do their work up top and pick up a first down. A new set of downs after the completion. It's a draw. They bring him down, and he's going to lose a yard on that one. Lost one on that last one. It's 2nd and 11.
Second down.
Wants to throw. It's Middleton. Fires to the tight end. Jumped on top of the pile.
I don't know who on defense is going to cover this guy. Honestly, he could be a problem for this defense over the middle of the field in the passing game.
They'll try to drive ahead on 3rd and short. And the Red Wolves will have a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Grabs it in the middle. They make the stop, trying to pick up just a little bit at a time to get to that first down marker. After a good pickup on the run, it's 2nd down. They'll run it from the gun. Oh, he's so hard to get on the ground. He's got room. And he delivers the angry stiff arm, but is greeted by an angrier defense. On 3rd and short, they'll try to throw for it. Gets it out quickly. They'll move the chains. Good execution on 3rd down. They've got it at the 41. Going up top on 1st down. Catch in the middle, it's Summers. And a good job in coverage there as they stop it after just a few. We have reached the 2-minute warning, and time is of the essence if this offense is going to make a play. Quarterback doing what he does best. He can move. Got to protect the merchandise. Gets down without taking a hit. They're looking at a 3rd down and short from the 33. He's got an open man. Quick timeout call by the offense after the play, trying to preserve every minute possible. The Red Wolves getting set on 1st and 10. He's going to pass. He's got it on the move. They go up top to get it down to the 5-yard line as they try to pay off this drive. We've got a timeout on the field, a tight game in the 4th, and the brain trust will go to work. Receiver on the move gets the touch pass. He's brought down, but he went backwards after that completion, not the way they had it drawn up. Boy, they'd love to pick up this conversion and go to work with a 1st and goal. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete. Down 4 late, they have to convert on 4th down to keep hope alive. Quarterback now breaking the field. They got him. It's a sack, and what a stop for this defense to turn it over on downs.
He had nowhere to go with the football. 4th down, you know he wants to make a play. I'd like for him to throw it up, to be honest. Try to give somebody an opportunity to make a play. Who cares if I throw a pick? It's 4th down anyways, but couldn't find anybody to get the ball off. Defense surrounds him, gets him to the ground with the sack.
They think they can create space here with the run to the right. He's run out of bounds, but a big play on that one, and it'll be a first down. Running out the clock, a mere formality between them and a victory as we have victory formation coming. Happy with the situation, the quarterback will take a knee. It's one thing to execute early in the game. Tight ball game, right at the end, you need the clutch plays. These guys deliver.
And you can't teach that gene. You have people that can focus in the moment or they can't. Great job by the team, staying focused, understanding it's a close battle, win those one play at a time, and then look up, and then, heck, I got the win.
Yeah, David, they just had ice in their veins, and you can tell there's tremendous leadership on this football team. Guys can step up, and in the huddle, they can make sure that everybody else is focused to the task at hand in order to get the W.
That's going to do it for us. For Jesse Palmer, David Pollack, our entire broadcast team, I'm Reese Davis. This has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.